It's Miss Audrey.
It's Miss Stephanie.
And welcome to our children's ministry.
Yay!
So, as we've been talking about for the last, month or so, we have been going over Joseph and his amazing story from him getting that really cool coat, to him actually being sold as a slave, to him ending up in jail, and then to him being the second in command in Egypt.
That's a lot of power, man.
That's a lot of power.
When Joseph was 30 years old, he was made second in command. The only person greater than him was Pharaoh! Pharaoh! So, it was Joseph's job to make sure that everybody had enough food. So he would ride around the whole country of Egypt in a really cool chariot. If you don't know what a chariot is, it's really cool.
Actually, if you don't know what a chariot is, here's a picture of one.
So, he rode around the country in a really cool chariot, and he made sure that everybody put aside food because they were doing something.
They were going to have a famine.
They were going to have a famine, but they were really prosperous before the time that they were not.
So let's remember, last week when we talked to you guys, Pharaoh had a dream. And in his dream, 7 cows that were healthy and fat were eaten by 7 cows that were sickly and ugly. And Joseph explained this dream to him being, oh, what this means is your land is going to be prosperous for 7 years. Your land's going to have tons of food, tons of everything that you're going to need. However, for 7 years after that, there's not going to be very much of food. There's not going to be very much water. There's not going to be very much of anything because you're going to be in a famine where things a lot of the time didn't survive. So that's why Joseph went around to the different places in the city to make sure people had enough food saved up and enough supplies saved up for the famine.
After 7 years of really cool fun times and lots of food and lots of cows and animals and grains and
water,
cool chariots, the famine happened. Dun dun dun. So, people were starting to go hungry, and they went to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh was just like, hey, go to Joseph. He's the one that has this figured out. So they went to Joseph, and Joseph started passing out all the food that had been stored up during those 7 really good years. And it turns out that they had so much food that people from other countries would go to Egypt to get food.
Nobody in Egypt went hungry.
Nobody.
None. So the famine ended up happening all over the world, all over the place, and nobody had food. So much so that it actually ended up in Canaan, and Jacob and his family were starting to go hungry. Now, if you remember, Jacob is Joseph's dad.
What?
So he decided to send his sons to Egypt because he had heard that Egypt had a whole bunch of food stored up for everybody.
You mean those brothers that were really mean to Joseph and beat him up?
Yes, those brothers. The only one that stayed behind, though, was his brother Benjamin. So all the brothers went to Egypt. They went up to the Pharaoh, or so they thought. They went up to somebody who was really, really, really blingy and covered in fancy clothes and fancy jewelries and did not look like somebody that could have been a slave. They went up to him and they were begging for food. But Joseph, because it was actually Joseph who they were talking to, wanted to make sure his brothers had changed. So what he did was, he told them to go back to Canaan because he was accusing them of being a spy. He said, go back to Canaan, and the way that you're going to prove your innocence is that if everybody comes, including your youngest brother, all of you can come back, bring your younger brother, and I will be positive that you guys are not spies. So when the brothers went back to Canaan, Jacob was like, nah, I don't want to send Benjamin. He's the baby of you guys. I don't want to send him. I don't want to lose him. Benjamin was not a baby. Benjamin was like just the younger brother, the youngest brother at the time. So he ended up agreeing. He said, okay, Benjamin can go. please come back all safe. So that's what they did. They all went back to Egypt. All of the brothers, including Benjamin, went back to Egypt
And they talked to Joseph.
to talk to Joseph.
But here's the thing. Remember in Joseph's dreams, he said that they were going to bow down to him?
Yeah.
And they didn't believe him?
Yeah.
Guess what they did? You gotta do it.
So Joseph was so overcome with emotion because he saw his brothers and he saw Benjamin that he was just like, I'm gonna just do it one of these and hide his face from his brothers. So what happened is he gave his brothers a bunch of food, a bunch of grain, a bunch of everything that they needed,
Here's
and
some
sent them
stuff.
on their way. But he had a
Trick!
he stuffed a silver cup, a very expensive silver he had a very expensive silver cup stuffed into the bag that had the grain in it, and he sent his brothers, including Benjamin, on his way.
Bye.
But the
Guard.
guards, the soldiers, that's the
Yeah.
word I was looking for.
Those
but-
guys with pointy things.
But the soldiers ran up and were like, y'all are thieves. You're coming back to the palace. And they took everybody back to the palace.
Dun dun dun!
Joseph then was like, I treated you with kindness, yet you stole from me. Let's all remember that Joseph is the one who shoved the stuff in the bag. So,
He was tricking them.
but for a good reason.
He
The
wanted
brothers,
Them, he wanted them in jail, right?
no, he wanted to make
Oh.
sure his brothers had truly changed.
Oops.
So the brothers all were like, no, there must be some mistake. There has to be something going on. And
We didn't do it.
when they opened the bag and found the cup, the brother that was actually holding that bag was Benjamin. The brother that they didn't want anything bad to happen to. Depressing.
The brothers were super upset, and obviously they didn't take the silver cup, and they were just like, hey, don't take any one of us except for our brother Benjamin. You can take any one of us except for him because he's the youngest and he's our dad's favorite. It would break his heart. It would break his heart if you took him, so just I'll go. Take me. So Joseph told them, surprise! I'm Joseph. It's me, your baby bro.
The one that you stole my coat and covered in goat blood.
The one that you beat up.
The one that you sold to slavery.
Here I am. And what else happened? Because I forgot. Just finish it.
I will.
We're so
will.
close to being
I
done.
will. So after Joseph had told them that he was in fact their younger brother Joseph, he let them know, hey, I was sent here to Egypt to be second in command. Not so that way you guys could starve in Canaan, but to make sure that everybody was very well taken care of. And that's what he did. So then he said, yo, go get dad.
God told Jacob to go to Egypt. Jacob, go to Egypt.
Yes, God.
So Jacob gathered up all his stuff and he went to Egypt.
Everything. Animals. Clothes.
While he was in Egypt,
Green.
he saw this fabulous chariot with this cool looking dude named Joseph in there. And Joseph was just like, hey dad, it's me. Jacob was probably pretty shocked.
And after that, Jacob was able to be happy because his favorite son was back in their lives and they were all able to be a family again. All in the meantime, there was this giant famine going on and everybody is starving and hungry. But Joseph kept busy and he kept taking care of people, making sure people had food until the end of the famine.
Woo!
And that concludes our story of Joseph.
Series finale. Next week, we're going to talk about...
Moses.
Woo!
It's going to be even
Bye.
long. Bye.
It's got some tricks. That's all I got.
And why did you close the book?
It's right here.
Lord.